SGC here. Today's first impression is Ironside 2013 TV series version. First impression, season 1, episode 1. So, Ironside, if you didn't know, it's from NBC and it's actually a remake of a 1960s television series, same name, and it was back in 1967 actually, and it ran to 1975, and it actually starred Raymond Burr as the paralegals chief of detectives Robert T. Ironside. Interesting note that they cast a black man compared to a white guy. No racism anywhere here, but I'm just wondering how the original fans of the original series think of a black dude playing a white dude. Hopefully it doesn't, I don't know, like I didn't watch the original, it doesn't make a difference to me. Ironside is this time around in 2013 is played by Blair Underwood, and I haven't seen anything of him at all ever. I think he like guest starred in like different series, and he was in the event from NBC. Didn't watch that. So I guess just throw out some names. I mean, he has Brent Saxton, who plays Robert Ironside's like best buddy, and then there's this team for Ironside: Pablo Schreiber as Virgil, Spencer Grammer as Holly, Neil Blaiso as Teddy, and Kenneth Choi as Captain Ed Rowland. So you might remember Kenneth Choi because he was actually in Captain America. He was like, what was he? Let's see, James Jim Morita in the first Avenger. He was in Red Dawn. He was in Street Kings. He was in War, you know, the Jet Li and Jason Statham movie, and even Behind Enemy Lines 2, Axis of Evil. So yeah, so this series is about, you know, a black detective as the main character, and then he has a assisting team. He is, description being read right now, a tough, sexy, but acerbic police detective using a wheelchair after a shooting is hardly limited by his disability as he pushes and prods his handpicked team to solve the most difficult cases in the city. So reading that sort of reminds of like maybe House, but with cops. So yeah, so there's this thing with him being in a wheelchair. It's kind of interesting because I mean, this first episode deals with him like just struggling as he flashbacks for audience's sake about his life before the wheelchair. There's a very like opposite effect, like he's a lot more angrier and more I don't know, cocky, more like not really thinking about things and doing it sort of guy, and now he's in his wheelchair, he's more like passive, more logic thinking. Interesting note, like when I read on the Wikipedia page to get information on this series, is that there was actually controversy about him being a paralegic in the story, despite the fact that he's not a paralegic in real life. And then they're saying that, oh, you should just get a paralegic person to play paralegic guy. And I don't get why it's a controversial thing. Like, you know, actors act like they do things that are not them. Like, are you gonna start hating on actors that are fathers when they're not fathers in real life? Though I would say that there are supporters of him. I mean, because in the series it really challenges the perceptions of how those in wheelchairs should look and act. I mean, like you totally do not want to mess with in this first episode, despite the fact he's in a wheelchair, and I think they'll try to play along with the entire season of people like underestimating him, the fact that he's in a wheelchair. There was some like jokes about like, oh, they couldn't find cops anymore or something, like about him being in a wheelchair and stuff. And I would say it's interesting to play, like sort of like challenges the storytelling, because I mean, you have this detective who obviously can't run, who's your generic like TV cop show would be some dude holding a gun and just walking around running and everything. But with him being limited, it'll be interesting to see how the series is going to play out, because I mean, location will be limited, because I mean, like, you can't expect him to chase after like you know, like crooks when they go upstairs or whatever, because, you know, he's limited. But anyway, so yeah, the first episode was interesting because it really draws on his character, and the supporting team is sort of there. I guess it was just they will probably work on them and try to flesh them out more. It was sort of interesting to see, you know, like Kenneth Choi, who's a Korean, and then Blair Underwood as a black guy, sort of playing like you know, like in a room in a scene together. It just felt kind of like different, because I mean, when you really think about it, like a lot of like shows are majority cast Caucasians, right? So it was kind of cool to see like an Asian and a black guy in one scene. Not to be racist or anything, don't hate on me, but it was just cool. Like I was proud that, like, you know, we've gone so far from like where everyone was Caucasian or white people playing everything. Now, though, I just sort of was thinking, like, you know, this is reminiscent of Luther in the UK because he's like a black guy and he's like the main character. I sort of wish there was like a series that had the black guy and then like a supporting dude, like that's a reoccurring character that was also black, because I was sort of wondering, why is it always a black guy surrounded by white people? And then so this one, so yeah, that's just one note that I was making when I was watching the first episode. So yeah, this actually premieres in October, so I can't wait to see where it goes, because I don't know, angry detectives are kind of cool. I still have to finish Luther. I don't know why I haven't finished, but anyway, so this is like the first impression for Ironside, the remake of a 1960s Ironside, episode 1, season 1. So that's it.